George, this letter that was written by 4 of the board members, they don't include Elon Musk, they don't include Elon Musk's brother. Who are these 4 board members and what are they trying to say with this letter?
Well, I think what they are doing is they're obviously backing up the CEO and confirming that this is not something which was an ad hoc tweet by him yesterday. It is something that the company has been looking at and has been discussed with the board over the course of the last week. I know that various people are reading a huge amount into the fact that it's not all board members who have signed the announcement, but I personally wouldn't read too much into that.
Yeah, I mean, Musk owns 20%, but he still needs $70 billion in financing for a company that's $10 billion in debt and the lowest credit rating out there. It's junk. Does this work?
Yeah, so that is a key question. And, clearly we don't know what structure is being envisaged. How we think about it and how we think it could work is that, as you say, he has 20%. We then have around 35% owned by institutions that have been long-term shareholders of Tesla and who we think would want to participate in the new structure. Whether their mandates allow them to be invested in private structures remains to be seen, but that does in theory get you to around 55%. We then think what Tesla essentially will need is a new strategic holder who would have a large holding of around 15 to 20%, and then 2 to 3 other investors of size. These could potentially be sovereign wealth funds or similar institutions.
I mean, private investors would have to agree to some extent. Some of them could stay in, I'm sure, but obviously at 420, there would be people who would need to sell. Would enough people sell?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, and it's one we just don't have we don't have the answer to. As pointed out, I think for some investors, selling at 420 would mark a good return and some relief in terms of the workload that's required to cover Tesla on a day-to-day basis. But clearly there are others out there who think the company is worth a lot more, who aren't necessarily able to invest in private vehicles. And as I mentioned, we have had conversations with them and they are frustrated.